so that I don't get distracted. Like I am just now, because we've got a new member of the family. So, see what happens. So distractions in meditation are some of the most frustrating things you can come across. Especially when you're starting meditating. But and you'll find some days you just can't get in, but you're just distracted. You might have noise that you can't unhear. You might have thoughts in your head that you just can't get rid of, and they're persistent. And the more you try and push them away, as we're told to do, is just let them go, push them away. The more we try to do that, the more our mind sometimes seems to attach to them, and it holds on to them tighter. This is the problem with letting go, is that the more we try to do something, the more we hold tighter to it. Letting go is a real skill, but that's something I'll look at another time. The truth is, distractions are a part of life. So really, for our meditation, we want to be distracted. We want to have distractions as part of our meditation practice. Not to start with. We really, it's good to be in a nice quiet place, because our brains find it really difficult to learn new things if there's a lot going on. The less distractions we have while we're learning something new, the harder it becomes. Now, someone once told me, said, you should always, try and be in a quiet place, particularly if you're a beginner and this kind of thing, which has some merit to it. But as I say, we do need distractions. Distractions are a part of life. Now, they did also bring up the point that monasteries are very quiet, and so obviously our meditation should be done in a quiet place. Now, I don't completely agree with this. Monasteries are quiet, and when we think of meditation, we think of the monks sitting in silence and serene and feeling fantastic. But it's not like that in reality. If you think of monks when they're meditating, now monasteries aren't the most modern places, particularly if we're looking at the real meditators in India and Tibet and places like that. Some of these monasteries that people go to meditate, they're not comfortable. They might be hungry, they might be cold, they might just be uncomfortable. In fact, they generally are uncomfortable. I mean, some people that have gone there to meditate have said, yes, you have to sit there for hours, cross-legged on the floor, and that's painful because you can't move. So yes, meditation in monasteries may be quiet, but it's also hard work. And that's something I think you really need to get from meditation, is that it's hard work. It is about being uncomfortable, because we grow when we're uncomfortable. We grow through pressure. We evolve through pressure. And so our meditation practice at some point has to have that pressure. It has to have those distractions. So think about it. If you don't have those distractions, and this is why we have angry meditators. If you don't have distractions, then when you need your meditation, when things get stressful, it won't be there because you haven't trained it for that. So this is why we have angry meditators, because what they do, they sit in nice quiet rooms, they get their music, or they put their headphones on, they get their incense. All these things are great to use. They give you a nice trigger to step into a meditative state. But if they only do that, then what happens is they don't have their calmness and the skills that meditation give them in the real world, because it's not like that in the real world. And our body and mind adapt to what we do. We become what we do. So you do need to have some form of stress at some point within your meditation practice. Now, I was teaching meditation in a class, and it was at a church hall. And on that particular night, the bell practice was happening. It didn't always, but they didn't tell me, and they started the bell practice. Now, so everyone meditating in that class had the bells clanging in their heads. So what we did we turned the meditation into listening to the bells and had them as part of the practice. So this is something you can do, is if you have a distraction, make that a part of your practice. So you can, if it's a noise, just listen to that noise. Because listening can be part of a meditation. Anything we're focused on, we use that as our focus point. If you have a distracting thought, watch it, observe it, learn to observe, and eventually you learn to let that go. Because if you try and hang on to it, it's like trying to grasp water. It will just slip through your fingers. If you just let it go, if you just watch it and let it take its time and let it go on its own, then your mind doesn't fight you anymore. And that's what we're trying not to do. We're trying to teach ourselves to not fight, to let go. And so if we let go of those noises by just accepting them for what they are and that they're there, and allow them to be our meditation and our focus, they'll just disappear on their own. And this is something that happens with pain as well. So, but that, again, that is another subject. So another example of this is my wife often tries to get my children to be quiet if I'm meditating. Now, the reason for this is she worries that I'm going to get distracted. And I've told her it doesn't bother me, really doesn't bother me at all. And this I explained it to her one day when I was out in the garden meditating and the next door neighbour was mowing the lawn and it was very loud. And she said, when I came back in, she said, how can you meditate with that? And I said, but the sound takes me deeper. It doesn't distract me. I don't focus on the sound. It just becomes the rhythm of the world around me. The rhythm of the noise takes me deeper. So this is something else you can do. And I learned this many years ago. But to say to yourself, before your practice, say, any noise that I hear, any distractions that I have will send me deeper. And the more you do that, the more you create a trigger that if you do have a sound, you can just accept it and allow it to take you deeper into your meditation. Again, it's about rhythms. You listen to the rhythm and you get into that rhythm of relaxation, and you can go deeper in your meditation. I'm not saying that you need to be distracted and uncomfortable when you're meditating. Not all the time, but it is good for you. So this is very much the same way that I teach martial arts. But if you do martial arts, to learn a technique, and if we are learning something new, then we do it slowly and very controlled because we have to get the technique. And that's good. But if we only ever did that, then when in martial arts wise, if you had to use it, then it would not be there because you haven't trained it to the extent that you have to use it. So the same with meditation. Yeah. So in martial arts, we train it slowly to learn it, and then we go fast. And when you go fast, you'll make mistakes. Things will go wrong. But these mistakes are good because our brain learns from them. So this is the same with meditation. When we're doing it, we practice, and we practice in a nice quiet room, we practice formally. But what we also want to do is practice it when it's noisy and we have we have lots of distractions. We don't have our music on. We may do it out in the supermarket, not sitting down obviously, but while you're walking. Again, while you're walking, if you're not used to meditating while you're walking, walk and meditate. Do something different, test it, push your practice. And the distractions will become less and less because you get used to them and you can work beyond them. As I say, if you don't, you'll just end up as an angry meditator. So in conclusion, you have to train your meditation muscle for what you want it for. If you just want to sit in a nice quiet room and then be angry for the rest of your day, fine. If you want to be meditative, calm and serene throughout your day, then you need to practice it for that. You see, otherwise it's like building a house out of paper. It's wonderful while it's sunny, but terrible when it's raining. We need distractions. We need to learn to deal with distractions in our meditative practice so we become much better at it. So use those meditative moments, use those distractions to take you deeper. Because the truth is, meditation isn't about escaping. It isn't about sitting in a quiet place and escaping the world we live in. Meditation is about living in the world we live in, but living it in a better way. So you have to have your meditation in your life every step of the way. So embrace your distractions and hopefully your meditation practice will improve.